shine on light. We don't talk about swim. Welcome to my life. Let's shine on light. We don't talk about swim. We don't talk about swim.
Hello. So I'm Ed Accura, producer, writer of the Blacks Can't Swim film documentaries and co-founder of the Black Swimming Association. This is the very first episode of Why We Don't Talk About Swim. So what is Why We Don't Talk About Swim? It's a podcast whereby we talk about the issues, the aquatic issues within the African, Caribbean, and Asian communities. And I should really know about all this because I've only just learned to swim. And I did everything within reason to stay away from swimming all my life. So I know about the issues. I was one of the problem. But today, I have some special guests with me. I'm going to introduce them, but I think it would be better if they introduce themselves. Ladies first? Can I say ladies first? Can you say ladies first in this day and age?
You said it.
Yeah. I'm not going to get in trouble for this, but Sabrina, you go first.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's an honour to actually be here. My name's Sabrina Salmi. I'm an author, publisher, mother of 5 entrepreneurial children. I have recently been selected to be UK Women's Delegate here, and I'm really pleased to sit in this seat to have an essence in this conversation that we're about to embark in.
Michael, over to you.
Hello, good morning, everybody. To be honest, I'm honoured and pleasure to be on this first ever episode. I'm Michael Wallace. I'm the founder of Kick Off at 3, and very much what you said. I'm a champion. I like to say that's actually, believe it or not, my dad nicknamed me Champ after Muhammad Ali.
That.
So and actually in some of my private emails it's got Champ, so that's why it was after my father leaving the creating pathway. So yeah, I wear a number of different hats, but the hat I'm here is as the founder of Kick Off at 3, which I originally co-founded with Ashley Levin. But yeah, it's a journey, and also I've got to say that I'm honoured that I was early this year presented by Prince William a Queen's Police Medal for my services in the community.
Love it.
And what I do with a fantastic team, and just honoured to be here today.
So what Michael hasn't told us is that he's also a 7 police officer. You're not going to get away with that one, Michael.
Yeah. I thought I would just keep that one in, but I'm a police officer. I'm based in sunny Brixton, South London. PC Michael Wallace. That's my day job. But I'm not looking up anybody today. I'm a good policeman. Policeman.
I better come correct. Police officer in the house. I better come correct.
But also, as well, I sit on the executive committee of the Black Police Association for youth community engagement. So yeah, I wear a few different hats. Yeah.
So to put things into context, there is a big issue with swimming in the aquatic, as you guys know, within the African, Caribbean, and Asian communities. Sport England's figures states that 95% of black adults and 80% of black children in England do not swim. 93% of Asian adults and 70% of Asian children in England do not swim. 1 in 4 kids leave school not knowing how to swim. And the World Health Organization states that we have the highest drowning rate and we have the highest risk of drowning. So it's a big issue. But we recognize that changing the narrative requires a collective effort from various stakeholders. And I've narrowed these stakeholders down to 5. First and foremost is the community organizations. Organizations like the Black Swimming Association and many others that were built within the community based on this issue. The second one is the education system. So basically the education institutions. And the thing about the education institutions is that all of us go through it. We all go through the school, education system at some point or the other. So Are they the right person to lead in changing the narrative? I don't know. But that's why we're having this conversation today. Then the government bodies, the governments, local authorities, because that's where obviously the grants come from. And they have the resources and the funds and things like that. Then we have the press and media, because they have the wider reach. I had release a song called "You Can't Be What You Can't See." It basically talks about role models and all that kind of thing. And that's one thing the press are in the position to be able to, get as much people to know about the issue and, address the issue. And then the fifth one is the community itself. So that's us, our parents, that's what's parents, aunties, uncles. Are we the right ones to lead in this? So basically, the whole question I'm asking today is, who is the primary, should I say, stakeholder in changing this narrative, driving this change? Which of these stakeholders that I just mentioned is the right one to lead? Because I know we can all work together, and we're all working together, but I personally feel that there has to be a lead, driving this. So I'm open, don't look at me, because I don't know the answers to this. I ain't got the answers. I don't have the answers. I'm just a little person and then who's only just learned how to swim. So yeah. Let's go.
I think the first thing that comes to mind is certainly I love the essence of all five of what you've mentioned. I think it is a collective. I think all of those are very relevant. In terms of leading, I think the narrative is being changed by the Black Swimming Association, which I think is amazing, which means communities will change. The conversations are starting to happen. And I think as those conversations happen, it's like, who are going to facilitate this change? Because there's going to be finances that need to be put behind this. So I think school might be a good place. If there's more funding, there's access to swimming. Many families would love to swim, but sometimes there's that financial barrier.
Yeah. And the problem I see with the education system is that equity and equality comes into play, because let's take any school, for instance, it's equality. So you have probably 100 kids or 200 kids, whatever, and they all have the same, the same lessons, the same other kind of thing. But we're not all coming from a different place. We come from different places.
Absolutely, very true.
And putting it on the scale, they said people from African, Caribbean, and Asian communities are probably at -3, whereby the school system or the government system is working on a 0. So basically, in order for us to even get to the point where the schools are, are delivering this program, we have to come, 3 steps up. But because we are having the issue, it's not. That's why I say why we don't talk about swim, because we don't talk about it in our families, in our households. And as I mentioned the statistics, 95% of Black adults in England do not swim. So we do not swim, so we're definitely not talking about it.
Yeah.
So it's a big issue. So the education system, I think, is a good place to start. But is it the right one to lead? I don't know.
I think what you've added is really helpful, and I think, to add to what I was initially saying, it could be access to swimming. So I love what you're saying, because there's only so much you can do if you're only learning at school. And obviously, if you've got to advance to get up to that level, you're still going to be struggling. So what if schools can create some sort of membership discount, so then families can go along to the centres? So there's some subsidised lessons, because I think swimming lessons, especially for large families, it's going to be out of pocket for them, out of budget. So it's like, how can they be supported? But I think the conversation has started because of your book, because of all the amazing work that you're doing at the Black Swimming Association, because of the documentaries and films that you've put out. So the beautiful thing is now the conversation has started, but where do we go from here? What do you think, Michael?
Well, I'm going to actually, I totally agree with a lot of the things you said, but I'm actually going to speak from somebody who wears different hats, as I've said. But I'm going to speak from leading with for the Black Police Association, and I can tell you, and I know for a fact, and the stats tell it all. If there's 95% of the Black community that cannot swim,
do not swim.
Do not swim.
We don't know whether they can.
Do not swim. Then, if they do not swim, I'm looking at then looking with the police, where we're trying to recruit more of the diverse workforce, black and Asian officers. So in the police, we have a Marines department. Okay, so I can tell you that I've hardly seen that. I know there's one or maybe two, but in our Marines department, there's no person of colour in the Marines department.
Oh, wow.
That there to save lives on the waterways, and I know in our Marines department we go out and we do education about swimming, etc. So, and I think you might know where I'm going with this one now. So, if we've got, you often talk about, Ed, about role models, and those that the young people in communities they see that look like them. So if there again, it's like in the police in general. If the community don't see anybody that looks like them, if you put it into that waterways, if you're not seeing those that look like them that are, navigating our vehicles, they're not there educating about swimming and how, being instructors themselves.
Exactly.
Then surely that's a problem.
Massive problem.
That's a problem. And so when we're talking about everybody has a responsibility, police are there to save lives. Before, you used to, when joining the police, you used to have to pass a swim test.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So there again, thinking about it, if you look back in the day, if you're saying 95% of black do not swim, then I wonder how many of those of origin, black or Asian, could have applied, but it's stopped them from applying because they cannot swim. But now, to enter the police, you don't have to swim. So, and I can tell you now, in the police training, when we do annual refreshers, now part of that they've about how to, if somebody's in distress, how to try and save a life by throwing certain buoyancies and so forth. So there again, for me, if I maybe had somebody of colour teaching me that, and then if the community see that, then there's that connection.
Absolutely.
Can't be what you can't see.
I was going to say going back to your song.
Thank you, Michael, and it totally makes sense. So, Sabrina, you're gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna put you on the I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna put you on the spot. So, when I said who will be the best organized and best stakeholders to lead with you mentioned the education system. You have a story about the education system because you mentioned it in Rewind. Oh, actually, I may have mentioned it in Rewind about him having an issue at school with learning how to swim, but playing ball instead of swimming. So I'm going to let you tell that story because you can tell me that story. You can tell that story. We had it live on Rewind.
You created that ripple effect because
so
the
I'm
team
going to leave it over to you. People are probably saying, "What is he talking about?"
You have to go and look at you to watch it.
You have to watch Rewind.
You have to watch it.
Yeah.
It was a shock for me. I think the reality of answering the question and hearing my son say something for the first time that he's actually shared it with the family, we're like, what on earth? So there is a lot of unconscious bias, definitely, in the system. And it meant that, well, why would you pick swimming? You could play football.
So, but you have to tell. You have to
tell the story.
You have to tell
the story.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are, being interviewed. And I can't remember the question. Can you remember what the question was? Is have you done swimming at school, something like that?
Yep.
And Amir said that when he asked to swim, he was told to play football instead. And I was thinking, you never told me that before. Why would someone say that to you? Why did they make that decision or take that decision away from you? Why was it a comment? You know, in what context? I had so many questions, but at the same time, I had to compose myself because we were in the middle of filming, and I'm going, what on earth is going on? And my eyes, like I'm really feeling the emotion of what's going on. We need to talk. And as much as I wanted to be present, I couldn't wait for filming to finish so we could actually speak as a family. And we had a really deep conversation and found that there was a lot going on that kids sometimes forget. So we definitely need to sit down from time to time and ask deeper questions. And we're a family that talks. And it's really going past I had fun and I did this or I did that. You know, try and just keep probing. Because had we not been a part of filming, I would have never known because he'd never mentioned it before.
And it was a shock to me when I watched it because I remember the part in the film when it was something along the lines of your son was automatically put in the category of those who can just play football and whether it be running. So there that unconscious,
that's it, running, football, basketball.
Only black people.
Exactly.
We only play football and run.
Exactly.
And it wasn't thought about that to put him in where he can swim. Now I'm going to be really honest. If your son was white, I don't think. It wouldn't have been the conversation. Oh, where do you put your son? It would just be a bare fact of, it's just There's a lot of things happening, and it's still happening in schools. They see black children, and they're very educated, and they're just thinking, oh, they're just good at this, sports and so forth. So there's assumption. So. There's a lot of work to be done, and as Ed keeps saying, we've got to change the narrative, change the mindsets. Our black children and Asian children, they're very, very talented in so many different ways, and we have to work together, and that's where education is really important.
So going back to the question, who holds the primary responsibility to drive this change? Who hold the primary responsibility to change the narrative, and just to make sure everybody doesn't forget, it's community organizations, school and education system, the government, the press and media, and the families. So let's talk about the community organizations, and for instance, like organizations like the Black Swimming Association. I don't want to seem biased, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. So I'm going to leave it over to yourselves. What do you think organizations like the Black Swimming Association and many other organizations out there that have been set up by the community for this, to change this narrative? Do you think they can be the ones, or should be the ones, that have the primary responsibility in changing the narrative?
I think definitely play a major role. They would know more about, I guess, laws and how statutes work and how to put things in place to make big changes from the top down. And I think they can work as an extension as a voice for families, be that voice for the ones that can't really voice their opinions in that way. So the association's a great place that I think that we can gather and use as a resource, because I think it's amazing what you've put together. It's a place for us to go to. Growing up, I had nothing like that to revert to.
Yeah, and I personally think that and we're in a good place because we are part of the community, so we know the issue.
Exactly.
Yeah, and whereby something like the governing bodies and all that kind of thing, they have to work on the shall I say, it's on an equal level with all nationalities and everything. We are set up just to work in this space, but I think we have to work together.
Absolutely, collaboration.
So there's a lot of organizations out there doing very different, doing great things, but working in silos. So I think we have to, whether it's learning to swim, water confidence, water competence, and all that kind of thing, we have to work together as as a community.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
So what about us as individuals?
The conversation. We need to talk about swim. That I think the title says it all. We do need to have those conversations at home. It wasn't until I watched your film did I realise that to apply to go to the army, like the way it used to be at the police, you had to know how to swim. And you think already we're edged out. You know, we cannot go for certain positions. We're not going to be there, so we can't be those role models. We can't be there in the front line, so our kids can say, "Oh wow, I would like to do that. I want to be that," because they could see it. You know, like you said in your song, that we can't be what we can't. Kids can't be what they can't see.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel that that's the way forward. What do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, as well as that, I just wanted to just touch back on about organisations and the responsibility. Now, there's a lot of organisations doing fantastic things, but they're not getting the support.
Absolutely, that's a
deliver
good
the
point.
work.
That's a really good point.
And this is something that I spoke about quite openly, honest, recently. I won't say which show it was on, but I did speak about it quite honestly, to say that there's a lot of organisations that they know how to write a good funding bid, and they write a good funding bid, the funding goes to them, but they don't actually deliver what's on the paper. And I know in some cases they don't deliver at all. And that's me just being honest. So some people are getting money to deliver what they put on paper. It's not, and it's the grassroots organisations that are missing out, because some of them, they don't have the time, and they don't get the support to put in a good funding bid, because, you know, they're so tied up with their own passion. And I know a lot of people are doing some amazing things for free.
True.
For free, because they're passionate. But why should they be doing it for free? They should get the help and the relevant support to deliver. In turn, you know, with that collective approach, and as Ed has said, and you need to collaborate, put joint funding bids in together.
Absolutely.
To support one another, to deliver. And that's how, going forward, we can push to change the narrative. Because if we're not supporting our own communities, then the needs, who else is going to be doing it? Because we understand and we get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, there's, and like I said, when I started doing this, when was it, about 5 years ago? The whole aim was to, you know, encourage people to learn how to swim. But then as time went on, it became not just learning how to swim; it became water safety. And that's it's a big issue. And now I tell people that it doesn't matter whether you can swim or not, as long as you understand the importance of water safety. That is a huge thing. And all these organizations that we're speaking with, you know, all these stakeholders, I sometimes don't understand. I don't think they all understand the importance of what we are doing. You know, and that's when it comes to funding and all this, and especially we are about to enter the month of October. What happens in October? Black History Month.
Yes.
It's Black History for us every single day.
Exactly.
But all of a sudden, you get a lot of organizations that don't do anything throughout the year,
Yes.
but then they will just, you know. And I'm by saying this, I'm probably shooting myself in the foot, because I'm speaking with various different organizations about doing screenings throughout the year. Some come up and want to do it just in October for obvious reasons, but majority, we speak, we have a plan, to go out throughout the year.
Yes.
But that can be an issue.
Absolutely.
So it's. I think we've got a long way to go, but we've started the journey.
Definitely.
Yeah, the journey has started. One question I would like to ask, and like I said, why we don't talk about swim, so I'm going to go deep into the family. So I'll start with Michael. So your children, they all can swim, I take it.
They all can swim. No, they can't.
Okay, so that was an assumption I made. And that was an assumption I made based on the fact that you could swim. So, okay.
Well, the story is, my mum, should I say, that my lovely mum, Barbara Benjamin, that you've met, my mum cannot swim. And to this day, she cannot swim. And, she came from Jamaica. if people watch the films, they will see where this goes to. But she, for whatever reason, she just didn't learn to swim. My dad, however, he can swim like a fish. He loves water. And it was actually, I taught myself how to swim.
Oh, wow.
In Jamaica, when my mum took us to Jamaica. And I saw the children in the sea, and I thought, I wish I could do that. And I don't know how it happened, but I just thought. And what they normally do in certain parts of the world, and Ed has said this, they'll throw them into the water and say, sink or swim.
Get on with it.
And that's literally, I just thought, well, if I took the plunge, and I thought, well, if I don't try and do that, I'm gonna have to just do my thing. And so I never actually had really lessons. What I did when we went to primary school, but there again, if you watch the film, it will tell all the story about, because I only had a certain amount of lessons, and then when I went into secondary school, nothing. I only had about 6 weeks of lessons. So if I hadn't, and I used to go swimming with my friends, but that was because of I had the skills that I was self-taught. But then going forward, and it's actually because of Ed that I realised that I found that my youngest son, Noah, he wasn't a strong swimmer. I've been swimming with him, but then through learning and watching what Ed was doing in his films, I think if my son was to go into the deep end, he wouldn't be able to. So it's Ed that prompted me. I started taking him private lessons.
Amazing.
And now, and I want to thank Ed. If it wasn't for Ed, like getting my mindset thinking about all the drowning stats, I didn't want my son to be one of those stats. So in essence, and then we recently come back from a holiday this summer, and he was confident as ever in the water after doing nearly a year's worth of private lessons. So I have to thank Ed for that, for just so Eddie's saving lives, and what he's doing. So but there's and I'm sure there's lots of other stories out there that we can say.
Thank you very much, Michael. And thanks for the good words and all that kind of thing. But I'm still not going to let you off the hook. So Noah is learning how to swim. So what about your other children? Can they swim?
They can swim, but believe it or not, they're going to kill me. But they're part of the stats. They don't like going into the water.
Why? So what? Yeah. Why? So why don't? And I'll tell you a little story, and then I'll come back to you. So basically, I was in my day job. I work as an IT consultant with data storage and all that. So my whole life is not just swimming. I have a day job as well. So and so we're working on a project, and it was going horribly wrong. And then my colleague was like, I can't, I'm so stressed. When I go home, I'm just going to go home. I'm just going to go to the pool and just lie in the water and just relax. And I was looking at him like, no, I wouldn't think of that as one, something that would, I would just probably go home and listen to some music. I like music, as you can see around me. But why are we not in that space? Why can't we look at swimming as something that is relaxing? Why don't we talk about it in our households? Why why are we at this place right now? When are we going to get to the space whereby swimming is going to be a normal thing that we can talk about on a day-to-day basis? Because I can guarantee, all my friends know that for the past 5 years, my whole life, or a big part of my life, is swimming or not swimming, as the case may be. So, but if it wasn't the case, and I called them up and I said, "Hey, Michael," or "Hey, Steve, let's go swimming," they would look at me, What are you on? You know what I mean? Because it's so alien to many people that I know. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that swimming is their life.
Yes.
5% of the black community. Obviously, 95% not. But why are we here? How, why don't we talk about it? How can we change
I guess
that?
it's what we do talk about around it. So I know growing up, there was a lot of fear stories. So it's stay away from the water.
Yeah.
It's, my friends go on swimming lessons and I have swimming lessons. Well, we got to do something else. I almost drowned on a trip I went on a school trip for about a week and someone had pushed me in. I wasn't a strong swimmer. I could swim, but it sort of all happened very quickly. And that fear of that almost drowning was anchored in. And then you spoke about all the trauma. So there's a lot of trauma stories exchanged in the community. And I guess it's access. I guess your parents have got so much to pay for. How can they afford to pay for more? If you come from a large family and you're already doing piano lessons or dance or, doing different things, it's sometimes not a priority. But I think that is also because of the twist that I really love that you've brought out in terms of water safety. So people may look at swimming as a leisure, like I'm not going to go Olympian, so what's the point? Whereas when you're talking about water safety, a parent will think of it differently. Because it was definitely when I watched your film, I was like, wow, I love that, because water safety is something that a parent's not going to question. When I read your book and you said it could be your daughter, that choked me, because then I would go, if my kids were really small, I'd be like, they all have to swim now, because I don't want any time they would be in a situation where their life's in danger or someone that they could save. So I guess it's the narrative that we've got around swimming. What value does it have for us? Now, if we also as parents understand about positioning our children, want to get them into great schools, great careers, and realise that actually they can't apply for certain careers if their children are unable to swim. So I think it's just normalising positive stories. And like you said before, seeing us already doing it and going, oh, I like that, I see that, I would like to aspire to become that.
Good. Michael, what do you think? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I can't really top that. I mean, it says it all. There's just so much work to be done, and this is only the small beginning. And I say this all the time. We all can say we're going to do something, but it needs to be action.
Absolutely.
And I say this, we all can put on a great show and that film might look good or that show might look good or whatever it is. But actually, what are the continuous steps to save lives? Because that's what it is.
Yes.
And very much what you said, actually, Ed has flipped it on its head.
Absolutely.
To say, when we're talking about, you can't swim or you don't swim, whichever the case may be, it's water safety.
Absolutely.
And it's even made me, and there again, it's opened my mindset. So when I'm going to my local swimming pool, I'm thinking, I don't see anybody of colour to save my life.
Oh, wow.
Because I don't see many of those of colour, certainly where I live anyway. I don't see anybody that looks like me, educating about water safety. And there again, jobs, doing great things, on the water, and those jobs that you can have, but where are people that look like us? So,
very true.
Yeah, we all have a responsibility, and it then for me, then it starts by then we coming together where you have funding to train and give the opportunities, and then utilising that to be role models, to aspire them to be in that same position.
Absolutely. When listening to you speak, actually, if I may, did you want
to go for it?
You brought back a memory, because I've always gone to the swimming pool with my children. Never thought so much about like water safety. Their father swims like a fish. I know how to swim, but I'm not a strong swimmer. But they've grown up going to the swimming pool, but it was more about playfulness in the swimming pool, going where they've got slides like Woolwich swimming pool, or there was one in Leighton, I think it was like Leighton Lagoon or something like that. And it never dawned on me at that time until I watched your film, that if I had that foresight of, it'd be great for them to get to a certain level. I heard people say it, and I heard different children who had done their exams. But when I think about it, not taking it seriously in terms of water safety, because that just wasn't a conversation I had with people around me.
Yeah, and always say that my mum is the biggest advocate for water safety. She's so huge. She's so big of water safety. She's even bigger than RNLI. My mum's idea of water safety is stay away from the water. Stay away from the water, you will not drown.
Told that.
Yeah, stay away from the water, you will not drown. And the theory is true. Okay, if you don't go near water, but we live. I have this water just down at the end of my garden. I've got a river running down there. We go on holidays, so basically, water is everywhere, and I think one day we hope to get to a place whereby being in water or being around water is second nature.
Yes.
So we understand the risks. And you prepare yourself by understanding, the water safety code and all that kind of thing. But enjoying being water. And I'm going to say something right now, which I've never said publicly, but I'll say it. Since I learned how to swim, I believe I've learned how to swim. I can swim, and I understand water safety. And I kind of enjoy being in water, but not as much as I'd want to be. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that every time, whether I'm going to a leisure centre or whether I'm going to on holiday, and I know I'm going to be water, I have to mentally prepare myself to get there. I'm not at the stage whereby, and I wish and it's been 5 years. I hope I should have been at that stage whereby I could. Oh, we go swimming. Okay, let's go. No, I have to mentally prepare myself to get there. And I'm doing it because I have to. Oh, I'm Ed Accura. I'm an advocate for water safety, so I have to do this, I have to do that. When I'm going on holiday with my wife, she was like, oh, so you're going to get into the water, are you? Oh, and yeah, of course I'm going to get into the water. Do I really want to? And that to me is an issue. Because I don't want to be, I want to be in a space whereby, I just get up and say, oh, it's a nice day, I'm going swimming.
Yeah.
For some reason, I've not been able to get myself there. And I don't know if it's because I've spent most of my life away from it. So I'm just being open about, but that's how I am. And I want to overcome that. And I hope one day I will overcome it. But it's a challenge. And I'll keep on pursuing, so that one day I'll get to a point whereby I actually just want to go swimming. I just want to be in the water and not have to mentally get myself prepared to do it.
You're worried about your hair.
I knew it. I knew there was something.
And that just leads me on to nicely. One of the reasons, okay, my daughter Savannah, she's going to kill me. Savannah, I know you, but her hair.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to, because it's long, Dad. When they say long, young people, they say, no, this is a long, I don't know, I have to, dry my hair. I've just had it recently done. And the chemicals are going to, and all those kind of things. So, yeah.
I know. That's one big topic as it is. And, we're going to have to do a topic on just hair and talk about, because that's a big issue.
That is a big issue.
I always say that if the mum's not swimming because of her hair, then she ain't taking the children.
Unconscious programming, absolutely. It's going to be handed down.
It therefore becomes an issue. And I can remember when my daughter, on the day of the screening of the sequel, before that, she said she wanted to have her hair in a certain style or that kind of thing. And so we booked her, and my daughter, she's got hair, it's all out there. So we took her to the hairdresser, and the hairdresser said, you can't have it in water. So therefore, the screening was on Friday. Her swimming lessons was on Thursday. So for 2 weeks, she missed swimming lessons. 2 weeks, for 2 Thursdays, just so that her hair can be done in such a way for the screening. And I was like, okay. And that's just, she was about 11 at the time. It's an 11-year-old. So I can see it where a black lady will spend so much money or time on her hair. She ain't going to get that in the water.
Dodging the raindrops, let alone getting in the water. If I don't get my hair wet, don't flick water at me.
Yeah. But that's a topic for another day, and that's a big topic. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
one of the key key stakeholders we haven't discussed is the press and the media. They have a duty of care. I believe they have a duty of care in what in changing the narrative. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I can speak on so many different levels. I personally, touch wood, I personally have had a good relationship with the media that I've been in contact through Kick-Off at 3 and what I do, and they've seen what I and our team are doing to support young people and charity. So I have a very good relationship with them. However, I see so many different things where the press have, with the way they do what they do, it's for me it's done wrong, and so much is focused on all the negatives. I'm going to be talking, be very open, honest, especially around the black community, and certainly about our young people. But that's another story. But they have a massive responsibility, and they are the ones who are putting things out that get into people's heads that that must be true. But we need to spin it that this is where we need more positive stories, and where people are doing things in a good way, than often they're around a negative. But that's just my personal point of view.
I agree.
Yeah, there was something I was going to talk about, and I almost forgot actually. But thank you for reminding me, both of you. So when we did Rewind, I was introduced to a number of young adults to play a part. That was the Javel story, basically the friends of Javel. And one of the gentlemen, I'm not going to mention his name, came up to me and he said, "Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be in this film."
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Okay, no problem at all." And he goes, "Usually," and then he told me about he was in a gang. And he's been trying to get out of the gang, but he's finding it very difficult because they keep on pulling him in.
Oh my gosh.
And I was hoping that being around so much positivity in what we're doing with the film and all that kind of thing, it would drive him away from the gang and more into it. I heard after the filming, because he came to the screening and he was there, I heard that after, when everything died down, he went back into his old ways.
Oh no.
And that is obviously because there was not, the continuous activities for him to be involved in, which has saddened me.
Very sad.
Yeah. And I don't know his current situation at the moment, but I'm hoping that things that we do, will incentivize people. And I know there's other people within who were in the film who constantly tell me that thank you for thank you, because I've done so much. And Say-So always says it. Say-So's always telling me that thank you very much for giving me, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Say-So was introduced to me by Mr. X, who's the director of Black Can Swim film documentaries, and who is also the director of this podcast. Mr. X is in the room with us today, and he introduced me to Say-So, and Say-So introduced me to various other people within his team, and together, we work together. And I'm going to have Say-So on the show, talking about his life in one of the episodes. But it's amazing that we are saving lives not only in the water but on land. But by giving people opportunities, showing them the direction that you can do so much, you can do this, you can do that, Going back to can be what you can't see. You see people doing things and go, I can do that as well. It's not so out of reach that I can't.
Exactly.
So and Michael, you got so much to talk about that. So I'm going to put and then Sabrina, you're not going to get away with it because I'm sure you have things to say about that as well.
No, I mean, Ed, what you're doing is amazing. I can tell you that I know that young man because you're talking about, because I was mentoring him.
Oh God.
And I know his story very well. And should I say, just hopefully he'll get to listen to this podcast, and it will kind of make him think about choices he's making. And because all of them are good young men, and let's not forget the girls as well, because they are affected by this as well. So we just need to collectively help our young people, giving them opportunities. We all want to be loved. We all want to be loved. Me as a big man myself, I want to be loved. So yeah, if anybody wants to marry me, let me know.
You had it here first.
I'll put myself out there live on the show.
Oh, so Ed, you're saving lives on land, in sea, and now you're getting people matched up.
Oh yeah, but no, we my young people, they are our future leaders. We're here. Our time is, hopefully we've got many more years to go, but we need to pass on the baton now.
Yes.
And to leave that legacy, just as our parents, guardians, carers, whatever the case may be, role models, passing on the baton and
Very
inspiring them, and watching them fly with wings on their own journeys.
Sabrina, your thoughts?
I echo what you're saying. I think we need a real wraparound with our young people. We owe it to them. When our time comes, we transition, and it'll be brilliant if we can hand that baton over to them in the best possible way. I really hope this young man does hear this and reaches out for the support that he does need. And like you said, we all want to be loved, no matter how old we are, how young we are. We all want someone to love us, something to love, and something to hope for. My daughter Yasmin reminded me of that. She said that's a basic human need, and we all deserve to have that.
That's true.
And I think what I love about what you're doing is such an education. Like, I thought I knew so much until I watched the film. I thought I knew a little bit more until I read the book. I thought I knew more until I sat in the hot seat and listening. So what I really love is that there's a journey that you're taking us on. And it's a deep journey, and it will take time. But what I love is that you started the conversation, because the conversation wasn't there until you came into our lives. We have a very different conversation. There's a very different game plan. I'm having different conversations with people that I meet and greet. And when working with families, I'm now talking about swimming.
Yeah.
I'm saying, do you realise you could do it? Because some families are motivated by career and opportunities. And it's a case of, well, do you realise what opportunities swimming can open up? But more importantly, water safety. Never had that conversation before meeting you. Never actually, you say to kids, be careful around water, but I've never used the term water safety and been so equipped to say, oh, there's a book, there's a film that you can watch.
Yeah, talking about the films, there's 3 films. A film called Black Can't Swim was the first one. That was basically about my personal journey. Then there was Black Can't Swim, the sequel. And that was speaking to young adults between the age of 16 and 25, 26 about their personal journeys, why they do or why they don't swim. And then rewinding back to the parents and speaking to the parents about how their journey, how their choices with aquatics has affected their children. So basically, but these films are all available on Sky Store and Amazon. So check them out, Black Can't Swim. And the book, which is the whole journey, the whole journey from the beginning to the end. The films, co-founding of the Black Swimming Association and everything else. The highs, the lows, the ups and downs. It's a visual journey, so it's full of photographs and pictures and texts and emails and stories and all that kind of thing. And the publisher...
Oh, honoured. Absolutely. I must admit, I was honoured. Like, as a family, we were buzzing around. And what I love about you is your creative genius. I don't know how much I can say, but I'll say a little bit. But I remember
you could say as much as you want.
Talking to Ed about a book. And Ed was like, no, not right now. Didn't make sense. Went away. And when anyone's had the pleasure of working with Ed will know, he came back, he says, okay, I want to write a book now. And I was like, okay, like now? He's like, yeah, let's go. Tell me what I need to do. And it was so profound. And I think you know what I'm going to say, is he had access to this template. And usually it's so nice as publishers to actually see people build out their book in the background. You can have a sneak peek, go in. I remember we went in, the team went in, and I was like, get on and look at this. And it started at 100 and it just like doubled. And he said, can I have more? And we're like, what do you mean, can you have more? And there was just images and text, and the book just landed. It wasn't written. I have no idea what he was doing. It felt like he just stayed up all day long just typing. And it was insane. But it was so nice to see the creative genius behind this. Because when he said he wanted to write a book, he wanted to write a book. Usually an author would say, how do I do this? What do I do that? I've got writer's block. It wasn't writer's block. Ed had avalanche. And it all came pouring out. And it's an honour to be able to be a part of this journey. And I think what I love about the way you've done the book, which is similar to the movie, your humour. I never knew I would laugh so much when I came to the screening. We were in stitches. Like, I remember there's parts where I'm just screaming out and heckling, and my kids are like, "Mum, stop!" And your personality is all over what you get involved in. So I'm looking forward to seeing this podcast evolve. I'm going to be tuning in. I'm going to be one of the biggest fans, listening to all the shows.
Oh, thank you.
Because I really love the way you're getting us to have that conversation. And when you talk about change is happening right here at this table. And what I love is that you're inviting everybody to come and take a seat at the table, to take part. And this book, the films, you've always been about inviting everyone to the table. I know that the trilogy started with your journey, then other people's journeys, and going back to the parents. But all of it, you've always been a community person. It's who you are as a person. And I'm looking forward to the next, the next, because I know you don't stop. You literally do not stop. And it's a good thing. So keep it coming.
As you said, he started the uncomfortable conversation.
Yes.
Because you can now say, oh, and I'm actually, it was the other day, I'm doing it all the time. Oh, can you swim? Can you swim? do you know? And it's really fun because I never done that before.
Yeah.
But you just open up the mindset.
Definitely.
And we've spoken about the water safety and the hair and all the things. And then it's, and Ed knows, just the other day, it's got people talking because I've sent her a message that her mother contacted me and said, I really want to get involved with Ed's thing, but I'm not quite sure what he does, but it's caught the eye.
Wow.
Because everybody's got their own story.
Yes.
And yes, the black community and the Asian community, but there's the white community as well.
Yep.
That there's a lot of those in the white community that cannot swim, but then it's making them think twice and then understanding. And then when you started, so I say, go watch the film, watch the film. And then there you go.
Yeah,
Definitely.
good. Well, so and you talked about me inviting. It's basically our legacy. This is not my. It's not only my journey. It's everyone's journey. Everyone that's been part of this journey, and like I said, every conversation we have, if it saves one life, if it just makes one person think about water safety, then the job's done.
Do you know what I will add? Is what I like about you is that you love to shock people with the title. I remember there were times when you were writing the book, you said things like, okay, so Shay said, oh, what do you think about that? No, I want it like this. Yeah. And you knew what it was going to be. But I love that because there's the assignment and it's remembering why you started this in the first place. Yeah. And you will fight tooth and nail to keep it at that. So that narrative can start being out there. There's those ripple effects that continuously go out from the core of as to why it started. And I think that's amazing. So I really thank you because my kids are still young. And it's a conversation that I don't think I would have put enough energy into had you not had the courage to stand up and do what you're doing. So it's thank you doesn't seem like enough because you've changed a generation and will go on to continue to do that. And in various aspects, the association, the books, the films. And I can't think of life, what it was like before actually meeting you and your team. But I'm very excited about what it will become because my children are still very young. So that conversation of swimming is happening around a table, is happening with a friend. Do you swim? It's happening now, but the water safety. So thank you. You really are saving lives.
Thank you. Big up to the Black Swimming Association, my co-founders, Daniel Obey, Seren Jones, and Alice Deering, and everyone else within the BSA. Yes, that's our aim to save lives and to. I was asked once. I was being interviewed by Rob Gofton, and his, the CEO of RLSS, and he asked me, "So what's your main aim of for you, your personal aim of the Black Student Association? What's your main aim, your long-term aim?" And I said, "Our long-term aim is to not exist. We only exist because there's an issue.
Oh, that's profound.
We only because there's an issue." So when it gets to a time, and obviously probably not in my lifetime, but when it gets to a time whereby it ceases to be an issue, then we will need to exist.
That's a deeply profound response.
Do you know what?
I've never heard
that first on this show.
That is so powerful.
That is very powerful. Just think about, we always say, our vision to this, leave a legacy.
Wow.
But like you just said, that not to exist, because the time you cease to exist, then
that means that problem's no longer there.
problem
That's
there, yeah.
deep.
So on that note, thank you everyone for who's been part of this podcast. Like I said, this is the very first one. This is the pilot actually, of why we don't talk about swim. There's going to be one every month, and I'm pretty sure at some point you guys are going to be back here,
We'll
back
come
and forth,
back.
back and forth. So thank you very much, and. If anybody wants to know more about what I do, just go to blackscan'tswim.com and it's got all the information on there. But thank you very much.
Amazing.
thank you very much. Thank you for being part of this.
Thank you.